If you follow me now for many years, I'm going to flat wear you out with what I'm about to say. Stephen Covey's wonderful book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of those habits he talks about is that you begin with the end in mind. And I use that in everything that we do. When I start a strategic planning session with a landscaping company, wherever I am in whatever part of the country, we always start with, okay, Joe, we're about to sit down and do some strategic planning for your company. How will we know this plan has been successful? In other words, what do we need the end to look like? What's going to happen between now and then for this plan to have worked? It's a great way of crystallizing thoughts and getting to see how everything fits together. So what I want to share with you today is really a pretty simple thing. I want you to begin with the end in mind in your hiring. What would your ideal hire look like? So how do you do that? I want you to define what your ideal hire for all positions that would look like. You have a different type of traits and points and different aspects of a person that's going to be in sales as a person you're hiring to start out on the grass cutting crew. But what does that ideal hire look like? What are the traits and attributes of those type of people that are currently successful in your organization? Look at your good people that you have at your company. What are the commonalities amongst them? Where did they live? What was their background? For example, at Grundy Landscaping Company, we find that if you enjoy hunting and fishing and camping, that's a pretty good chance you're going to like the work we do. Why is that? If you work on a production crew, your feet are going to get wet. Your head's going to get wet. You're going to get cold. It might get hot. It might get really hot. We don't live in this little perfect world as a landscaper where the weather's controlled. We have to be able to deal with that. You will improve the results that you have with hiring by crystallizing, all right, and identifying, defining what that ideal hire should look like. Then you can go out and look for them. And to wrap this up with an analogy in terms of camping and fishing, if you're fishing for pompano off the coast of Fort Pierce, Florida, on the east coast of Florida, you use a different rod and reel to attract pompano fish and bait, right? If you're fishing for trout in a Missouri River, you're going to use a different rod and reel and bait to get those trout out. If you want to attract the type of people to your company, you have to figure out how they think. You know, there's different kinds of ads you run for a salesperson versus production, right? But it all comes down to identifying the traits, the commonalities amongst those people that you want to have on your team. Take some time to define your ideal hire. Look at the successful people you currently have in the organization. That'll give you a big clue to what you need to do. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks a lot.